And it's been exciting. You know, you can have your, when there's somewhat of a mismatch, you can have your 28-0 games, and they're really not too exciting. But a lot of big plays in this one. Touchdown pass from Preet, 2 long runs from Troy Swittenberg. Of course, every run, he's both as solid as you can get and about as exciting as you can get. And, boy, you just don't find many guys at any level like that. And, you know, there's guys who can do a lot of dancing and make a lot of big plays, but can't do a lot as your workhorse. But Troy Swittenberg definitely qualifies as a workhorse and obviously has breakaway ability every time he touches it.
We have one moment here. We'd like to thank the Upper Merion School District for all they've done today and giving us our video feed that you'll be seeing. They've done such a great job. And then, of course, we want to thank Norristown Area School District for allowing us to bring you today's game. Director of Communications, Tony Koya, Mrs. Cheryl Emerson, of course, helping out today, and Sam Galbraith, who comes to most of our games this year to help us here at Roosevelt Field. And there's the flag I was talking about. Except now it's in the 4th quarter, and that'll move Norristown back 5 yards. For all the literary people out there, that's called foreshadowing.
Well, I'm much happier it's just foreshadowing, because I was starting to think you had an eerie ability to predict things.
Would you be scared if I predicted Norristown was going to win this game?
That one's pretty safe. I think pretty much all of us have at least that ability.
2nd and 15. I can tell Walt is obviously not that impressed. Stewart coming to this side. He beats 2 men to the corner. We have a flag thrown on the play. I believe that one's going to come back, but Stewart got into the end zone. However, I think we're going to have a problem with the block that was thrown out there for Stewart. But amazing speed right there from Audley Stewart. He got to the outside. He beat 2 men. And once he got through that hole, he bursted upfield. I haven't seen that kind of speed from him in a long time. Probably ever, I would say.
It was pure speed to get to the corner. And unfortunately, the block in the back happened well downfield after Stewart had turned the corner. Got some good yardage. But trying to get him into the end zone, one of the Norristown players hit a man in the back.
Well, how tough is it to really stay disciplined at this point? I mean, 28-0, 4th quarter. Like we said, of course, your season, you're not going anywhere after this. So, you know, how really tough is it to, you know, make sure you stay disciplined?
Well, it's got to be even tougher on the Upper Merion side because, you know, they're down and obviously not going to get 4 touchdowns unless Norristown makes huge mistakes in this 4th quarter. For Norristown, if you're in control of the game, it's a test for yourself to stay disciplined, to run the offense that the coaches are giving you. They've definitely given them a lot of room to make big plays. They've made the game fun. You know, they know that to keep the Norristown players interested, they had to have a lot of fun in this game because, you know, they're just playing for pride, and that certainly is enough. But they know that, you know, after a disappointing loss last week, they're going to have to keep these guys interested and keep things fun. So I think part of that is what's keeping Norristown disciplined, as well as just good coaching, and we have seen them be disciplined all year. So you really wouldn't expect it to change now.
3rd and 6 for Norristown. Swittenberg with another electrifying run. Stewart with 2 receivers, Edmonds and Terrell. Stewart, quick 3-step drop. A strike over the middle to Edmonds. That one was tipped by number 34, John Davis. Good leaping abilities right there from the linebacker to make sure he got up. That was a strike thrown by Stewart. He would have had Edmonds coming across the middle, maybe for a touchdown.
And James Edmonds has completely changed his role this year. Last year we saw him be almost entirely a sideline receiver where he would run the sideline and Chris Blake would just throw the ball up to him and let him go get it. This year we see him run a lot more inside routes, using his size in there, running posts, deep posts, short posts, running a slant that time that was tipped by the linebacker. So James Edmonds, a real versatile receiver, and his size does a lot of things for Norristown.
Norristown in that no man's land, deciding to go for it on 4th and 6. Stewart back to pass. He's being hawked from behind right there. And that looked like number 81, Kevin Letkowitz. He was coming from the far side, and Ollie Stewart turned around, and there was a freight train coming at him.
Yeah, he had no time, and you could see just did not know that the man was bearing down on him in that case.
So turnover on downs, and now Upper Merion will take the ball. Let's call it the Upper Merion 32. 10:50 left to go in this Saturday afternoon game. Upper Merion has to use the timeout. Once again, confusion on that far sideline as we see BJ Bridge come onto the field.
That's certainly unexpected. That being your first offensive play, you'd figure you'd be all set to run that play and have the personnel out on the field that you want. But this is not the area of the field you want to make a mistake. And obviously Upper Merion's goal right now is to put some points on the board, preferably a touchdown, and just avoid that shutout.
And well, after, I know you're down 28-0, and I know at this point momentum really doesn't mean much. But I mean, the momentum of one of your defensive linemen actually, making a great play and making a big hit, maybe your offense could use that a little bit to push the ball off the field.
Well, and really that's the only big play they've made all year, and I think you saw the excitement and you saw the enjoyment. And they swarmed Letkowitz after he made that big sack. It was a big hit, and that's the kind of thing that can get you going. And you're right, the offense needs to use that because on either side of the ball for Upper Merion, that's really the first big play they've had all day.
So now first down for Upper Merion. The pitch outside to BJ Bridge. He looks to cut up field. Nice job by Norristown to keep him from getting too much yardage. He gets about 3 or 4.
And they tried to run Bridge to the outside that time. And the key for Norristown's defense, if the Vikings are going to try that, is to contain him because you saw B.J. Bridge try and cut back up to the middle and definitely does not have the feet of Troy Swittenberg to make that cut back. Now, certainly much bigger. It's a whole different type of running game that B.J. Bridge plays, but trying to make the cut upfield really took a lot of steam off of that running play, and Norristown was able to contain it.
B.J. Bridge gives you that Ron Dane kind of feel to him when you look at him. And it's obviously B.J. Bridge has not gotten 6,000 yards in his career, but a great play right there from Mike Wilson. Coming off the end, he had 2 guys hanging all over him. He still fought through to sack Jeremy Boyd right there. Mike Wilson really developed into a really good defensive end for this Norristown team this year. And last year, he did some good things from that position also.
And Norristown has the versatility to play guys on the end who you normally wouldn't play there because they play 5 linemen. If you have 4 linemen and you just have 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends, they really have to be more run stuffers. They really have to work to collapse that pocket. But in this case, with 5 linemen, Mike Wilson is used as a contained guy, as a big play guy, almost a rover back kind of guy. And that's what we've seen him do today, at least on 2 occasions, is shoot off the end and either make a big play on a running play or a sack.
The pass is incomplete to Matt Booker. That's the one thing about the Norristown defensive ends. We've seen Wilson and we've seen Terry Powell this year. Both of them have done such a fine job. Not big guys, but guys who really utilize their speed and know how to get around linemen. Unfortunately, right there, Mike Wilson had B.J. Bridge standing in his way. But these are guys who know how to get around the fullbacks and get around, huge offensive linemen. So on 4th down, Bridge back the punt, or so we think. He'll get rid of that one. A very high kick, short, however. Takes a Norristown bounce. That ball hit at the 50, said, I don't want to go to that side of the field. And comes back to the Upper Merion 46. Called about a 25-yard punt. Now Norristown with great field position. Mobley Stewart and the offense will come back on the field with 9 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. We'll So much for that 20-minute first quarter that we had. Things have started to stretch out a little bit here in the second half. On first down, the pitches to Swittenberg. And he is hit hard by number 66, Paul Corliss. That almost knocked the jersey off of Troy Swittenberg.
And you hardly ever see Troy Swittenberg take a clean shot like that. Normally, if he's one-on-one out there, he can at least shift enough so that a guy can make a tackle but not hit him cleanly. That time, Corliss looked like he came out of the fog, at least from Swittenberg's perspective, and put Swittenberg in a fog. Laid a hit right on him, and nobody's going to break that kind of tackle.
No gain there from Swittenberg. Probably lucky to have his helmet at this point. 2nd and 10. The fake pitch. Ball is on the ground. Gordon tried to pick it up and go with it. And Upper Merion will recover that fumble. A little bit of confusion there on the Norristown side between Stewart and Gordon. And now Upper Merion will take the ball at the 45-yard line.
It looked like the ball was transferred to Gordon up around the chest area rather than down in the gut where you need to get it. But obviously the big mistake on that play is Brian Gordon not falling on that ball. I mean, he was being pressured from all sides. Even if he picks that ball up cleanly, he's not going anywhere. And that's a ball you just jump on and cut your losses.
Handoff up the middle to Bridge. He bounces off, and he is pushed backwards by the Norristown defense. Man, he bounced off of right there was Eric Benitez, and everybody jumped all over B.J. Bridge. Great pursuit once again from Norristown.
Eric Benitez looked like he's got a rubber shoulder pad or something because B.J. Bridge just bounced right off of him, and Benitez was also tied up with a blocker. But just as Bridge hit the line of scrimmage, Benitez shed his blocker, met Bridge, and Bridge is not going to go down with just a bounce tackle like that, but certainly put him back to the backfield where Norristown could swarm on him.
They say he lost a yard on that 2nd and 11. Fiolenetti, the man in motion. The pitch outside the Bridge. Has a little bit of room, but he will only get a couple before he's brought down. So it didn't work going up the middle. They pushed him to the outside and got a couple. Really, there's been nowhere to go for B.J. Bridge or any of the running backs for Upper Merion this whole entire game.
Yeah, Upper Merion has really gone away from Fiolenetti. Haven't given him the ball for a while. But as long as you can keep B.J. Bridge's shoulders parallel to that sideline, you're in pretty good shape. And when they run to the outside so far, he's not been able to turn that corner. And that's a credit to both the defensive system of Norristown with the 5 linemen and the players for stringing it out.
3rd and 7 now. 6.5 to play. McVoy comes in motion. The pass is to Booker over the middle. He'll get a first down right there. Good play there by the Vikings. Quick strike to the receiver, Booker. He'll get about 9 for the first down.
And
now
they were
inside the 33.
They were finally able to get Matt Booker the ball. They've been trying to do it in a couple of different ways, but the plays have been not quite designed to ensure that Booker got the ball. They've been throwing a little bit deep. They've run him downfield a little too much where Norristown could have some time to cover. That time just a quick slant. Found some room in the middle for Matt Booker.
Hand off the Bridge up the middle. Looks like he had a little trouble holding on to that originally, but he'll get up the middle for about 4. And Walt, you always look for skill players on a football team. Those are the guys who are really going to create something for you. Matt Booker really looks like he's that guy for the Vikings.
Yeah, he looks like their big play guy, the guy who's not going to touch the ball all the time, but is going to give you a definite change of pace. With the 2 backs they were going with at the start, Bridge and Fiolenetti, those 2 were definitely a different type and a different change of pace, but they've gone away from Fiolenetti and tried to get the ball to Matt Booker a little bit more. Looks like a wise idea.
There's Mike Fiolenetti. Go up the middle for about 2 or 3. And Walt, what is really the mindset for Upper Merion is they went to Mike Fiolenetti earlier in the game, and then they kept pounding with B.J. Bridge, and Fiolenetti doesn't touch the ball. and now they go back to him a couple times right here.
Well, I think you have to stay with him just for the change of pace, but you can see why Upper Merion would get away from him, because he doesn't have the speed to outrun Norristown, and Norristown was stopping up that line pretty good. So you're going to need somebody with the size of Bridge to try and bust some holes if your offensive lineman's not doing it for him.
Bridge now couldn't get to the outside. Once again, it's that man number 50, Jameel Butler, making sure Bridge didn't get there. And now it'll be 4th down for the Vikings. 4th and 2.
You can't underestimate the importance of a play like that at that time, because now it puts Upper Merion in a situation where you do expect you run Bridge, but after that last play, you can't guarantee it.
McVoy, and he will not get it. Great stand right there from Norristown. They had short distance on 3rd and 4th down, stopped them both times, and Norristown will take over.
And it's been all Norristown at the line of scrimmage. Upper Merion just cannot hold all 5 of those linemen off, and when they do, the linemen are at least creating enough of a gap for Jameel Butler to get through. And Norristown has completely dominated the line of scrimmage, and you can see that on the scoreboard.
What better way to start to wrap up your season than, of course, with a shutout, and with 4:02 left, Norristown would really like to keep that 0 on the board for the Vikings.
Cool.
One first down, the pitch outside to Swittenberg. Using the short side of the field, and they'll get a first down. Well, that short side of the field, you wouldn't think there's enough room over there to create anything. However, that play has also been successful for Norristown.
Yeah, they use it a lot, and it's because Troy Swittenberg is a very good straight-ahead runner. You can pitch it out to him, let him come straight upfield. Play really requires a lot from the tight end because he's the guy who has to contain everything and keep everything to the inside, because obviously any sort of pursuit down the line of scrimmage is going to prevent a play to the near side from working.
Stewart keeps it, puts his head down, and he'll get about a couple of yards. Sometimes you can't tell exactly what the play call was, because Stewart will look up and then he'll put the ball away when he knows. I mean, he's very smart. He knows when to put it away and when to throw the ball. But the running back comes out of Audley Stewart occasionally because he knows he can create something if the passing play doesn't work.
And that's just being into the game and finishing every single play. And that's what you really want from your quarterback, because it just adds that little extra element. And with all the other weapons they have, holding a linebacker or a safety for that little bit can be the difference.
Pitch outside now to Ricky Preet, being used as a running back. We've seen him as a wide receiver, and now playing everything today. As a quarterback for that one pass, and running back, and wide receiver.
Yeah, Ricky Preet is Norristown's slash. Of course, referring to Cordell Stewart's old role as receiver, quarterback, wide receiver, or running back. And certainly a guy you will see a lot from next year. Norristown really could play him at any one of, before we've seen him tonight, any one of 3 positions. I don't know if he's had any quarterback experience or quarterback training, but Norristown certainly will have a hard time replacing Audley Stewart.
3rd and 7 for the Eagles. Stewart back to pass. He'll roll out and he'll throw deep for Edmonds. That ball will go out of bounds. So now 4th down. Unsuccessful on the 3rd down pass play. And Walt, we've seen Ricky Preet in the game as a defensive back, so what do you call him, slash defensive back?
He's the double slash.
The double slash, okay.
The backslash for you
Backslash.
for you cyber fans.
Slash punter. A line drive kick. McVoy will let that go, and unfortunately that ball just keeps rolling, and now he's going to pick it up and take it back, and he will get nowhere. So Paul McVoy probably wishing that those last 15 seconds really didn't happen. So he let that ball go and then figured, okay, well now I got to try and make something of it, and unfortunately there were 5 guys staring him in the face when that happened.
And that's just a question of focus. Really no pressure on him that time, no real reason to let that ball hit and roll, especially with it being a line drive kick. The tendency for a kick like that is to hit and roll in the direction that it's coming. So Ricky Preet delivered a nice low kick, and Paul McVoy made a mistake that time.
So 1st and 10 with 2:05 left. Boyd, the handoff coming to this side. Looks like it's McVoy on the carry. And he got about 3.
And what Upper Merion is not getting is a lot of blocking from their other running backs. That's also helping Butler and Samba shoot gaps, string plays out, and make tackles. But even if the line does their job, Norristown's always got one other guy there. That's where you need that lead blocker to pick that guy off.
Boyd back to pass. He'll throw one out to McVoy. And Donovan Palmer was right there. Ball was picked up by Benitez. Unfortunately, the play was dead. A great play right there by Palmer. He saw McVoy coming to the outside. He got to him before the ball got to him and made sure he made the tackle and wrapped up McVoy for a loss. So we're under a minute to play at Roosevelt Field. Norristown will move to 9-2, and Upper Merion will move to 3-8. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we want to tell you about the Thanksgiving Day game once again. The game will be at 10 o'clock in the morning here at Roosevelt Field on Thanksgiving Day. Norristown Eagles will be facing the Plymouth White Marsh Colonials. That should be a good one, as 2 Suburban 1 American powerhouses will go at it there. Bridge runs to the outside and is tackled. The clock will continue to run. Well, a very impressive victory for Norristown today.
Absolutely. Dominated on both sides of the ball. No mistakes, no crucial mistakes, very few penalties. And you have to put it all in context of their season. They came out dominating teams, 3 straight shutouts, a total of 6 shutouts, and working on their 7th and getting their 7th shutout of the season. And coming off both a playoff loss to rival North Penn and the way they lost, a phenomenal effort here today.
Well, they did so much right today, and Troy Swittenberg, Audley Stewart, the whole offense doing such a great job, and of course the shutout thrown by the defense. A great day for Norristown as they defeat Upper Merion 28-0, moving to 9-2 on the season, rebounding from that tough loss last week. So for Walt Fry, I am Greg Fry, and we want to thank everyone who contributed to this game, the Upper Merion School District for giving us their video feed, and of course the Norristown Area School District for allowing us to bring you today's game. Once again, I want to thank you, Walt, for joining us today, and I am Greg Fry, and we will see you Thanksgiving Day. Norristown will face PW. See you next time on Norristown Area High School Football.